Firefighters of Reddit, what's the dumbest way you've seen someone accidentally start a house fire? The old turkey fryer on the wood deck is always a favorite. In the city of Colorado Springs, the local news did a fluff piece about candle safety near Christmas. After they were done filming, the store owner that they were filming in took the crew out to breakfast. She didn't put out the candles and burned several shops to the ground. The film crew was there to film her breakdown when they realized what caused the fire. I worked for a restoration company. A family cut a small tree down and tried to stuff it up their fireplace to burn. The flute was so crammed with leaves that smoke started to fill the living room. They tried to pull the tree out and that's when it really caught fire. They tried to pull it out of the house. They got as far as the front door. All of them had 2nd/3rd degree burns on their hands/arms and the fire destroyed the front room and entryway of their house. The insurance company asked us if we thought it was a case of fraud, and we told them, no, these people are just really stupid. A Roomba knocked a scented candle over and set fire to the rest of the room. The guy said he knew the Roomba did it because he watched the whole thing happen, but didn't do anything because he thought it was funny. Teenager was charcoal grilling in the attached garage during the winter. When done, he decided the best place to dispose of the hot coals was into a cardboard box in front corner of the garage closest to the house. Yeah, it went about as well as you can imagine. My dad was a firefighter and he once went to a house fire that was started by the old lady who lived there. She liked to burn candles, but didn't like the wax buildup that would form in the cavity, so she would soak up the liquid wax with a napkin. She was doing this when she accidentally brushed a wax-soaked napkin up against the flame. She panicked and threw the napkin into the trash, where all the other wax napkins were. As the trash can exploded into flames, she fled the house, but not before she went to her oxygen tanks and flooded the house with pure oxygen because she thought that it would smother the fire. A fairly common one, but the response was interesting. Early February, Western PA. Guy's pipes freeze on the coldest day of the year, -8°F. He tries to thaw them with a propane torch, sets the wall on fire, tries to put the fire out, fails, finally calls 911. Fire chief is 1/2 block away. Is on scene in under a minute. Basement is fully involved, main floor catching. First engine arrives in under 5 minutes. Doors are blocked by fire, exterior attack only. I'm on an attack line, spraying water into the 2nd floor window. After 40 minutes, another firefighter comes to relieve me, but since I'd been getting back spray, I'm frozen to the ground. He has to pull me loose. 2 hours later, we have it knocked down. The insurance adjuster shows up. Assistant chief explains what started the fire. Adjuster replies, "Oh, yeah, we know. It's okay, we insure for stupid. Nobody got hurt. Family gets a much nicer house out of the deal." In college, a girl in the dorms was making popcorn which, not sure how but somehow, caught fire in the microwave. She didn't want to get into trouble for it, so she grabbed the flaming bag of popcorn and threw it into the nearby trash can. Then proceeded to cover the fire with paper towels to smother it. She actually thought it would work. It did not work. I came back exhausted after work to find the dorm building surrounded by fire trucks. I'm a firefighter, but this wasn't in my district. A guy was attempting to forge a sword in a burn barrel in an alley, based on something he watched on the History Channel. The embers from the forge lit up the building he lived in and destroyed 3 multi-family residential buildings. Forgetting to close the bottom of your grill, then going overboard with the lighter fluid. Based on the stories from relatives, the answer is by allowing 10 years worth of dryolin to accumulate inside the machine until it just bursts into flames. It was not an isolated case. Not a house fire, but really good. Late 1980s. Guy was driving an old beat up Lincoln. He turned a corner to go up a steep hill, but the road department had recently ground the asphalt down in preparation to repave. A storm sewer manhole cover was sticking up about 4 As he went over it and up the hill, the rear of his car dragged due to the pavement height difference, and the manhole ripped open his fuel tank and sparked off the gas. Guy described it. I heard a scraping sound, looked in the mirror, and there was this trail of fire chasing me up the hill, like I was the road runner. He pulled into a gravel parking lot and tried to kick a brake in the trail before the fire got there, but it jumped the gap and led the car. By the time we got there, it was a total loss. He actually thought it was kind of funny. The only real loss was his wife's purse, with her license and credit cards. The car was insured, and they got a pretty nice payout for it. This happened this past fall, but a family had a fairy house that was outside, right next to their Woodside's house. The fairy house was made out of an old tree, and had a bunch of decorations in it, including incense candles. One evening, they decided that they would light the candles for the fairies, which then caught the tree on fire, which then extended into the house. Since it started on the outside, it ran up the side of the house and got into the attic and second floor. The family was home, but in the first floor. While this was happening, it wasn't until someone driving on the road saw the smoke and went to alert the family. Luckily, we were able to save the structure. There was a bit of damage to the roof, attic and second floor, but the homeowners are rebuilding those areas. Not a firefighter, but the apartment building I lived in at the time caught fire because all my neighbors smoke and throw their cigarette butts into the ground, which happened to be fresh mulch, before going up the steps. The mulch caught fire, which lit the siding on fire. No one's fire alarms went off. Someone driving by saw the smoke, stopped, ran and pulled the fire alarm, but it was only connected to the buzzer in the breezeway, not the fire alarms in the apartments. All bedrooms are in the back of the apartments, so no one heard it or woke up. He ran past the flames and banged on everyone's doors to wake people up. Fire department came and put out the fire pretty quick. It never got very big. I also caught the whole thing on my truck's dash cam, but can't find the video now. It was just one more thing that got us to leave apartments for good. Too many stupid people. When my father-in-law was a kid, he really wanted to have a campfire. His parents told him no. He was determined to have a campfire, so he went up to his room and started one under his bed so they wouldn't know. I keep that knowledge in my back pocket for whenever he wants to imply I'm an idiot. My father was a Boston firefighter for 30 plus years. One of his more memorable stories was a foreign family who had ripped up their cast iron bathtub and built an open flame underneath the tub. They used the tub as a giant oil fryer. Naturally, this didn't work out very well, and the house caught fire. To add to the insanity even more, the family absolutely refused to let my dad and his coworkers in without taking their boots off, which of course, they couldn't agree to. Just crazy. Not a firefighter, and it wasn't in a house, but on a certain mall here in Monterrey, Mexico. We have a freaky plaza, a little mall where all the geeks, gamers and otakus go to, and on the second floor someone was smoking while playing Yu-Gi-Oh! Since he didn't want to throw his ashes on the floor and the trash can was too far away from him, he decided to make a paper ashtray. Yeah, that didn't work out well, especially when 3 of his friends decided to use it to was in my local paper, turned out to be my friend's older brother. He tried to smoke out bees in the loft and set fire to the insulation in the loft and burned the whole house down. I was a chef before I was on a volunteer fire department for a bit, and this was at a restaurant down the street from my old one. Cooks at this restaurant forgot to plug the drain in the deep fryer. So what happened was they put oil in a fryer, which drained immediately right before lunch, turned on the empty fryer, and that's when the coils caught fire. So not only did they spill 5 gallons of oil, burn a fryer, fill a restaurant with smoke, and kill the service day, this was the second time it happened. Not a firefighter, but happened in my building. In India, generally you have small praying place in your house, like a little version of a temple. You lit the lamp every day and pray there. In this particular case, the family decided to keep this thing on a Fukin refrigerator. The diya fell behind the fridge due to wind from the window adjacent to it. The condenser caught fire and literally exploded. The whole floor was on fire. Luckily no one was home. It really was a dumb decision to keep a temple on a fucking fridge. Firefighter here. One extremely cold night, the temperature was -11, wind chills -40s. This guy tries starting a fire in his fireplace and couldn't get it started. He decides to use gasoline, dumps 1/2 gallon on the firewood, stacked by the door, and the other 1/2 onto the wood in the fireplace. As he attempted to light the fire, he couldn't get the lighter to work. Now the vapors are really starting to build. He then goes to the kitchen, which adjoins the room with the fireplace, to use the stove to light some newspaper. As soon as he turned the knob on the stove, the igniter let the gasoline vapors. The living room was instantly on fire. The vapor singed all his hair and got first-degree burns on his hands and face. We on the other hand spent the next few hours in the extreme cold. Flash ahead 3 hours. The firewood outside has somehow ignited and we have to go back. The second fire had some time to really grow. Middle of the night. Everyone in bed, no one around. Longest coldest night of my life. All because some fool decided to use gasoline to start a fire indoors. My partner's a firefighter. He said the dumbest one was where a man tried to barbecue in his basement. His reasoning? I don't want to go outside and risk exposure to coronavirus. It would be safer to do it here in the basement. There was a spider. Don't forget to consider the idea to maybe think about potentially subscribing. Peace.